We've been going quite a long time now. We've been going 22 years, nearly 23 years. When we first started, I think we both met at Minali Tattersfield, which was a design agency known for kind of witty, simple ideas, simply executed, beautifully executed, but really the idea was everything, and that's pretty much what our intention is now. And as we've been going a lot longer, then we just really want to do more of that for more clients in a bigger way. Well, it's certainly grown. I think we're 35 times bigger than we were when we started, but there were only 2 of us, so that's it's about 70 of us now. I think the basic principles haven't changed, but I think that we've probably got a bit better, if I'm honest. We started by wanting to do predominantly packaging design, but not limit ourselves entirely to packaging design. And wherever we could get a sort of fun idea into things. We really believe in that kind of Bob Gill school of design. An idea is worth so much more than just execution. I think to start with, certainly when we first started, packaging was very much at the bottom of the food chain in terms of communication. So advertising got all the big bucks, and then it went further and further and further down the line. And I think we were really at the very, very last stop. I think that's a while ago now, but I would say in the last probably 10 years that has changed, and in the last 5 years quite considerably changed. That packaging is now seen as really the core of a brand identity, a visual identity system. So packaging is really important to get right, and actually holds all the assets of a visual identity. So it's changed hugely. When we were working on Coca-Cola, it's obviously a massive global brand. I think they produce 1.8 billion packages every single day. And how on earth do you get some kind of cohesion and consistency across a massive visual identity? There's no way that Turner Duckworth can do all the work for everybody. But we just sort of figured that if we could inspire people in the style of the work that we're doing to want to be great in what they do, then wouldn't that be a great thing? And so we sort of come across this idea, which we like, which is that rather than giving out brand guidelines which are incredibly restrictive, the idea would be that we could sort of have a sort of open source system, if you like, where we create the key brand identity elements, and then and a sort of set of principles that other agencies around the world can then work to and do great work. And I think that's really what we're after. We've had an example with Coke where I've been judging some awards, and people have said, "Hey, we love all the work you've done for Coke." And I said, "Well, actually, everything that's entered for this competition, we didn't do any of it. That's just work that's been done because there's a general kind of high standard of work that it's proliferated around the world." And I think wouldn't that be great if we could do this work and then not be precious about it, not write guidelines that no one's really ever going to want to adhere to. I'm sure you need them for some bits, but for the inspirational parts, wouldn't it just be great to just sort of inspire people to do great work? I think it has to be organic. We're only here to do great work. That's our sole reason for being. And there is often an assumption, which I think is an incorrect assumption, that the bigger you get, the less creative the work is. And we're really, really going to try and prove that to be wrong. I don't think it is true. I think we've just got to really, really concentrate on the work. It's the way we've always done it since day one, just constantly striving to do great work. And as we get bigger, then I don't see why we shouldn't fill our studio full of other people other designers and account people who just love the same principles as we believe in, and so we'll just become bigger and do the same great work. So that's really our principle, and we'll get as big and as in as many places as we need to be until the work is no good, and then we'll stop and we won't get any bigger. We won't let the work suffer. I think students and talent looking to move look at the awards books. So, whilst we're winning awards, and we're certainly trying our best to win awards, then I guess our work is publicised. And if people love what they see and they want to apply to us, then that's already a good start. So they have to love the type of work that we do. Their portfolio has to be full of great ideas and show something interesting that we haven't seen before. And then I give everybody what I call the Christmas party test, which is that you can be the best designer in the world, but what happens is when the Duckworth have a Christmas party, I'm often late to it because I'm always on a phone or something. And there's always a space left for me next to the person nobody else wants to sit next to. So I figure if everyone we interview passes the Bruce would like to sit next to them test at a Christmas party, then I'm never ever going to have a bad Christmas party. Yeah, we've constantly given that thought, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did open more offices. They'd have to be based on some very sort of solid principles of being, like David Turner and I are both designers, so it would have to be led by a designer. Creativity would have to be the number one thing on the agenda, and it would have to follow the same cultural sort of fit that we have in both studios. We're very, very close. It's much more like a sort of family type business. So which locations? Well, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because San Francisco just came about, really. And it's not in the obvious place. I mean, most design companies would go London, New York, before they'd ever go to the West Coast. And maybe it was a good thing. Maybe somewhere interesting and is the future for us. Maybe the obvious isn't the future. So watch this space. I'm not going to tell you where we're going to open, but I can imagine that in the future we will.